My brother Ochocinco, he cuff ain't sh. Oh my God, she is so entitled.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Rivah, and I am back again with another video. So if you guys are unaware of what is going on with the entire Chad Ochocinco situation, Chad Ochocinco and his fiance are no longer together. And she decided to take to social media to basically make the information known. She made this post on social media stating, "Chad and I are no longer together. Please stop tagging us. He's a free man, ladies." And then right after she made that post, somebody had commented and said, "Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and slide up in his DMs." And she responded to that by saying, "Hope you don't catch nothing, sis." Now, a lot of people are trying to act like, Chad is so sad and broken up about the situation. He might not be so happy about it, but I more so believe that he's more upset at the fact that she was willing to go to the internet.
If you live publicly, you break up publicly. Yeah, so it's okay. See, I can deal with that though.
I think that he thought that was, a low blow in the situation where the whatever situation that they had, that she was willing to try to, again, humiliate him or expose him on social media. I think that was more of the issue that he had with the situation, more than just their breaking up. Okay, because Chad Ochocinco, he lives in a place that I'm sure he can snap his fingers and find somebody. And worse, if he had already stepped out the relationship, that means there's more where that came from. Okay, I'm just being real. So comedian Holcomb actually caught wind of all of this situation, and he decided to essentially call out Chad Ochocinco for his behavior.
My brother Ochocinco.
There was a clip from Holcomb's show that went viral, in which he talked about the quote-unquote role reversal.
That's not the type of woman that when you are a man at home, I don't know who all are familiar with what happens with Ochocinco, but one day his wife called him, his fiance called him and say, "I'm out here on this Don Julio. I'll be home in a little bit, get it ready." That is the greatest role reverse I ever saw in my life.
When this clip went viral, a lot of women, of course, they were in the comment section and they were so upset about what he had to say. They were saying, he doesn't understand the dynamics of relationships and he doesn't understand what's going on. Why would that be a problem if she's out with her friends and then she calls him and is basically saying, I'm going to put it on you when I get home.
He went to a party with a homegirl, right? Yeah. And hit me on the phone at the party. It was like 12:30. He say, "Baby, I'm on that Don Julio. You better be ready when I get home." I done took a shower. I done lotioned up. Well, I'm gonna wear her ass out. So she come home. I pretend like I'm asleep though.
Like, a lot of women were siding with Rivah Gang in that situation. But I think that, again, in most cases, a lot of women are hearing to defend and respond instead of understanding the context in which he was talking about. And, from my interpretation of what I saw, he was more so talking about the change or the role reversal in the relationship. So he was drawing reference to the fact that, basically what Holcomb was trying to say is that she was the man in the relationship.
Is there ever a situation where a female leads?
Never. Never. How the female gonna lead?
Now, I want to talk about this because people always get so upset when they talk about, roles in relationships, women staying in a woman's space and a man staying in a man's place. And, a lot of people try to blur the lines of what's okay, what's not okay, right? Like, a woman can lead the relationship. A woman can take control. A woman can, be at the forefront. But if you believe in a traditional style relationship, or if you want the best results out of the relationship, people have to be in their spaces.
Masculine and feminine energy. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have both. The problem happens when we get out of balance.
I use this analogy all the time. It's like, you have a remote, there's a plus and a minus and a plus, and you are trying to fit both pieces in the same exact way. Or, where there's a plus and the minus, you're trying to flip the battery and put the minus and the plus, and you're trying to figure out why the TV is not coming on. And it's common sense, right? The reason why the TV is not coming on is because both of the batteries are not in their rightful space, in their right position. So it is not going to effectively work. He was, making sure to talk about the fact that, when this woman is leading the relationship, or when she's at the forefront of the relationship, thinking that she is the quote unquote boss or in charge, it's never going to work out ultimately.
But your man is going to carry you through and do what you need so that y'all in a good place. You can't do it because somebody can rob us at fist point.
Now, I wanted to draw a reference to the conversation that he was having about the fact that she came on the podcast, right? And that she would speak on his podcast.
When your woman wants to come to your job, especially a podcast, something that they obviously don't respect because you want to come with me. I don't know what you want to come with me for, and I'm going on the podcast. You think they want to see you? I'm the only one who want to see you.
This is one of the issues, and I say it all the time, not every woman is created for every type of relationship dynamic, right? Not every woman is supposed to be in a relationship with a man who is at the forefront. It just doesn't work out. There are certain qualities or traits that would make it better for a woman to be in that position, but you have to know how to maneuver when you are with a certain man who's in a certain space.
If you see somebody with a podcast and they woman or wife is on the podcast, that's a red flag. That is a sign for help.
Now, I think that the point that he was relaying is the fact that when you give women an inch, most of the time they take a mile. And I want to be honest, I have to say that I think that's 100% true in a lot of different aspects. We've heard women even go on the internet and say that they don't like women bosses because women don't know what to do with authority. Like, we've constantly heard people say those things.
The one thing I was not prepared for in the workforce was to have older women just hate me.
Nobody in this world is less of a girl's girl than your older manager who's dissatisfied with her life.
Like, my experience when I would go to a job interview was like, if there was a black woman, for example, on the other side interviewing me, I'd be like, oh, I'm definitely not getting it.
So it's not like it's something new, but especially in a relationship factor, I think what a lot of men don't understand is that women will push buttons to figure out the kind of man that they're dealing with. Right? So if they're dealing with a man that they can't get over, that they can't disrespect, that they can't curse out, that they can't, unleash all this kind of behavior on, they're going to maneuver accordingly, especially if they want to be in a relationship with that man.
When a woman wants a man, there's not a whole lot that woman won't do for that man.
But you see, if a woman is in a space where she is allowed to unleash all of these toxic, disrespectful behaviors, she's going to do so. And so a lot of men who are versed with dealing with various different women understand the nature of women, right? So they understand, like, okay, I need to keep certain things separate. I need to do my own thing. I need to be my own person, because if you are coming over here acting as if you have the authority to be in control of all different aspects of my life, you are going to take that to the head, right? And you are going to start moving as if you are the boss and you are, again, the leader of the entire relationship. And that is indeed a problem. Because when a woman is the forefront of the relationship, she is essentially going to tell you what you can and cannot do. Who that? Who you talking to? Where you going? Why you acting like that? And again, it brings up that situation that Chad Ochocinco had when he went to the restaurant and she went crazy on him for talking to the waitress.
I'm eating breakfast, right?
Yes.
And I'm eating my food. Got my sunglasses sitting on my head.
Right.
The sunglasses fall by accident, and I put them back up real fast. And the waitress was in front of me. Rail.
Who
think somebody sitting at? She say, "Man, who in the is that sitting in front of you? I know you're not playing with me."
Interestingly enough, on that same entire show, in which he brought up her going crazy on him for talking to the waitress, she was actually right there, and he had her come on to explain the situation. I noticed also that, whenever Shannon Sharpe and Chad talked about the breakup of the relationship, Shannon Sharpe was like, oh, she not going to curse me out. Oh, I'm not going to get into this.
Rail, let me to cuss me out. We got that hair rail.
This is making it seem as though she is the one to be afraid of. She is the quote unquote boss. Oh, I don't want her saying nothing to me because, I'm scared of her. That's a problem. That is a problem. If you're thinking of the dynamics of Who is supposed to be in the leadership role? Who is supposed to be at the forefront?
You in violation.
I think that people misconstrue the idea of, you know, what is emasculation in a relationship. And there's so many different umbrellas that it falls under, right? Ways that a woman can emasculate her man in a relationship is, of course, we already know, doing the ultimate, which is disrespecting him constantly, you know, cursing him out, trying to physically harm him, you know, bashing him on the internet and talking bad about him to people within their circle, talking down to him when the two of them get into an argument. But I think that people forget the things that are not under the term of disrespectful, and it's just about women crossing boundaries of just not knowing their space within the relationship. Forms of emasculation is monitoring his phone calls and who he on the phone with and telling him when he got to get on the phone and when he got to come off. Forms of emasculation are, you know, smothering him when he don't even have time to breathe or be around other people because you always want to be around and always want to be in the forefront. It is a very different situation when you just know how to be in your space so much and so bad that your man has to call you to be around him. Like, no, I want her to be around me at this point because she just always in the background. She just knows her space so much that there's times that I'm going to call her around me because of who she is and the fact that she knows her space.
Yeah, see, I'm traveling.
She came with me, you know, came to support me.
That's a difference. And I say this all the time, you know, when women are in their rightful role, you'll be surprised how much a man will consider you. But a lot of women in relationships jump the gun and consider themselves. They always include themselves in your plans. It's distasteful, and also it can come off as like, okay, you always around, like get a man some spray, let him miss you. Let him call to you. And I hate to say it, you know, but to be genuinely honest, these are some of the things that also women can do that is not quote unquote, you know, outwardly disrespectful that run the man away from the relationship.
I don't need you on the podcast with me if you my woman. Look, I'm not saying 1,000% every time.
There's a way that women have, you know, there's nagging, there's disrespect, there's so many different aspects, but there's a space in which a woman is genuinely like being in this mother role, right? And a lot of women use their nurturing nature or their concern as a cover-up to manipulate the situation so that they are in control. They always want to be in control. They'll play the, oh, I miss you. I just want to be around you. Oh, I just love you so much. Oh, I just care. Oh, they use that as a avenue of control, again, so that they are incorporated into every aspect of your life so they could keep an eye on you. So they could see what you're doing, where you going, who you talking to, what you talking about, who you with. No man doesn't want that. And again, I say it all the time, especially when you're dealing with a certain type of man.
Homeboy got his woman with him at the nightclub. Chances are that's a bad sign. Why she with you at the nightclub?
There's a man for everything. There's some men that, you know, they want, for whatever reason, they have no problem. They want the woman to, you know, happy wife, happy life. There are certain men who are for that. But when you are dealing with a man who is of a certain, in a certain space, right? He has certain eyes on him, or he just maneuvers in a certain way. It doesn't even have to be because of career or spotlight. He just is a certain man that moves a certain way. And again, this is why I always talk about the fact that the number one rule for any woman is to know your man. Not know the idea of him, not know the idea of what you want, but knowing him through and through. And to know him, you have to be able to be quiet and listen to him without responding, without being defensive, to know the, you know, who he truly is. But again, being in a relationship with a man in this space, you have to know when to dial back. Know when to chill. Know when enough is enough. And even if, you know, he is constantly inviting you, you have to know when to say no. Like, okay, no, it's cool. No, you should go. No, I'm good. You need your space. No, I'm fine.
Hey, sis, the best advice I can give you is to know your place. At work, with your friends, with your man, and even with your family.
Freedom is the best thing that a woman can do in a relationship. But a lot of women, if we're being honest, are afraid to take their hands off the reins and just be in a relationship. They're afraid. But ironically, the women who let go and just, you know, again, don't have any control over the relationship, and they just let this man do whatever it is that he wants to do, they end up living in happier relationships than the women who hold the reins, because they hold it so tight that it slips through their hands. They hold on to the relationship so close. They got the man in the headlock, and he is fighting his way out of it, and he fights his way into somebody else. I'm just being honest. Because if you grasp onto a man and you try to control him, hold him down, lead him, and again, emasculate him, he is going to show you that he is a man somehow. And there's many different facets that he's able to do so. Women don't like to hear that, but it's the truth. And we have to be honest with each other and be honest of why certain women are having certain results. And is there truth that they are doing certain things that are running men away? We got to be honest about it. Now, you know, when Corey called out Chad and was talking about the behaviors that Chad exudes within these relationships.
Chad, my brother, is always in a relationship with a Latino.
He also wanted to make it known that, you know, he has respect for him. It's not like he's disrespecting him or he doesn't, you know, look at him a certain way or whatever.
For Ochocinco too, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about this situation.
But when it comes to the relationship sector, he sees the huge red flags of the women that Chad has been involved with in the way in which they maneuver.
He cuff ain't. Oh my God, she is so entitled.
Now, let me say this. Obviously, there was some kind of dynamic in the relationship. She alluded to the fact that he cheated on her. Again, we know that she cheated on her ex-husband with Chad, you know, at the start of their entire relationship.
I cheated on my ex-husband with Chad.
And, you know, that was kind of like a form of get back at her ex-husband for whatever it is that he did.
I had the tit for tat. And I'm gonna. That's a good. Give it to you. So
interesting.
Did you do it because strictly you just wanted to get back at him, or you really just?
But in the conversation that she talked about her ex-husband, you know, she made it clear that it was hard for him to understand why she did what she did, and there was no getting through to him.
It's hard to really explain to him because as a man, their pride is very hard.
And there's no space of peace with the two of them at the moment because, you know, men, again, I say all the time, you can't do what a man does and still be a lady.
They just look at what you do, that one thing that you do, and you're the worst person ever.
But ironically, she's now doing the same exact thing to Chad and not allowing him the space to communicate with her. You would think that at the very least, a woman who was already in that situation and the roles were reversed, and again, she was the one who stepped out of her relationship, that she would be able to have, you know, a certain conversation or have a certain level of reasoning with Chad based off of the fact that she did that in the beginning of her relationship with him. And she, quote unquote, had her own reasons.
But it does affect my ex-husband in our relationship. We do have a child together, and
so we are co-parenting.
Co-parenting, it does affect a lot. We don't communicate at all.
Yeah.
I felt like if I would have communicated more and exited out of that relationship, it would have been better.
And a lot of people, you know, misconstrue what I say, like, oh, you know, are you trying to say that it's okay? Or it's not about okay or not okay. It's about the level of understanding you have with your partner. And again, the level of communication that you are willing to have. You say you want to marry this person. You say you want to be with this person forever. What level of communication are you willing to have with them? What depths are you willing to go? A lot of people say that they want the marriage and they want the, you know, the forever, and it all sounds good, but then when they go through tough times, they run for the hills. And again, what makes matters worse is when you take that information, or you take information and the trust that you had in the relationship, you go and put it on social media. It's just so distasteful. So distasteful. From any side. I can't get with that. Now, of course, as I always say, I would like to know what you guys think about this entire situation in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.